Okay, so first day back at work, proper work anyway. First horse today since my operation. The hand stood up okay, still got no feeling, no strength in the fingers, but the scar itself held up okay. But anyway, it's getting near Halloween and I always try and do something. So with my afternoon, I've got this bit of 14 gauge, and last night on the internet I just downloaded this skull pattern. Just printed it out on a piece of A4, cut it out with a scalpel blade. It did have some bones going through it, but I cut them out. Anyway, so I'm going to use that. Simplest way to mark it. You could just chalk round it, but I find this quite an easy way if you've got some old paint lying about. It's a horrible colour, which is why I've still got it. I don't know why I had it in the first place. Anyway, it'd probably be better if it was a lighter colour paint. You'd be able to see the definition better, but you get the idea. Now we've got a line to follow. So I'm going to whiz around that with the plasma cutter. So let me get the plasma cutter set up and we'll give it a go. Alright, I've got myself sorted. Right palaver getting it all out from under the bench. Get all the stuff off it. See if we can untangle the gun. It's a really good long gun actually. Got a bit of slag stuck on the end of my nozzle. Brush it off. Yeah, it's a really long gun, but the earth or return or whatever you call it's not as long. So although it's an ideal to go, a lot of distance, the return isn't. So I don't know quite why they put such a long gun on it. Anyway, here we go. We're doing it freehand. Not really any other way of doing it unless you've got a some sort of a pantograph machine. Now I'm just going to put my glove on because this hand is the cold air coming out the nozzle there is bouncing on my fingers, and the cold really gives them some jip. So I'm just going to put my glove on, just keep that air off of there. Plus it's not very warm in here anyway today. Yeah, what I'm saying, if you've got some sort of a pantograph machine, then you could use that, but you've still got to cut out a pattern to start with, and then you start getting into CNC and all the expensive tools, which I would love, but there you go. I think I'll cut that one a little bit big, so I'm just going to open the other one up a little bit, try and match them up. With things like this, it doesn't really matter when you're doing it freehand, as long as you get the rough idea. It's sort of half the fun is trying to get it right and seeing what the outcome is. We have his nose out. You've got to try and judge because you can't see the centre of the cutter, so you've got to sort of try and gauge where your hand is going and try and visualise the line underneath the centre of the gun. It's all got tangled up because I coil this up to get it put away. It's all a bit awkward. I go at the jaw. Yeah, so as I was saying, my first day back today, actually shoeing. I've been in the workshop a few times fiddling about doing bits and pieces, but first day actually shoeing. And I needed to do one today just to make sure I could do it, so that I had could give enough notice to the lad that's been doing my work for me that I didn't need him or did need him, one or the other this week. So I think I'm going to cope. I've just texted him to say I think I'll manage. So I haven't got that many to do this week, luckily, and I really need to start pushing the hand a little bit more. I've had 2 weeks and a bit off to give it a rest. Now it's time to start giving it a bit more pressure. The hospital says I've got to use it, so that's what we'll do. bit more slag on the end. I'm not quite sure where to start here, so it's sort of comfortable. That's the thing when you're doing stuff like this, get yourself comfortable so that you can follow the lines. It's the same with welding. You need to prop yourself up in a comfortable position so that you can follow your weld. And it's exactly the same with this. You need to get yourself in a comfortable position. No point trying to do it when you're straining or whatever, because it just won't happen properly. So I'm propping my left hand at the wrist sort of thing, or sort of forearm. Now I'm propping it on my fingers of my left hand. Now moving on to sort of like the side of my palm, just so I can keep the gun moving smoothly. I don't think I'm going fast enough really, because this is very thin metal. It's only 14 gauge, and I've got the plasma cutter set on its minimum. It's only got two settings, maximum and minimum, and I think I could actually probably go a bit faster, but trying to follow the line when you're going faster isn't that easy. There we go, we got there. Pop it out. There we go. Simple as that. And it's still a bit wibbly wobbly, but I think that adds to the sort of character of the job really, especially on something like this, a skull. So I'm going to put a couple of hooks on the back, and so it can be hung up. But first of all, just clear all this lot out of the way, and then we'll give it a bit of a clean up. Right, now as you see, it's got a fair bit of slag on the back, and as I say, I think that was because I was going a bit slow. But you can knock most of it off. If you knock towards the job, it comes off quite easily. But I'm not going to worry too much. Grind the rest off. And you see, I'm using a bit of an old carpet square. It's well, they are. They're like samples. If you go down the carpet shop, ask if they've got any old samples. Often they've got books and books of them that carpet's no longer produced or out of fashion or whatever, and they'll give them to you. And they're dead handy for doing all sorts of things like this. You can put bits of metal on, it stops it sliding. You can use them for kneeling on the floor, putting over things, covering stuff when you're painting, all sorts of stuff. They're real handy bits of kit to have kicking about. And if you set one light or cover it in oil or paint or whatever, you just sling it out. Right, so I'm just going to give it a go over with the flat disc. I've got quite a lot of the slag off the back. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this. I'd quite like to leave it to rust again once it's cleaned up, but I don't think I'm going to have time really to let it rust. And then it would have been nice to let it rust, give it a quick wire brush to get the loose off, and then lacquer it so it sort of looks rusty still. But as I say, leaving everything till the last minute. So I shall probably paint this. Not quite sure what colour. I'll give it a coat of grey primer to start with. I might do it black, which I've got, but then depending on where I'm going to hang it, if it's black it might not get seen, so because obviously it's going to be at night, so I might do it white. I don't know, we'll have a think, but I'll get some primer on it to start with. I haven't got any white paint, so I'll have to get some if I decide to do it white, but we'll see. So I'm just taking all the really nasty jagged edges off, because you do get a few with the plasma cutter, and obviously it's going to be out where kids are going to be around and they might get hold of it, so I don't want any sharp edges, well, not only for them but for myself. That's not bad now. A little one or two in the teeth and eyes, but not sure what I'm going to do with that. Give it a bit more of a sand off, and paint her up, I think. Let's see how we get on. Right, I've decided, whilst I've still got the airline out, I'm going to just run my die grinder around some of these teeth and eyes, because there are a couple of little nasty bits, and as I say, I don't really want anyone cutting themselves or anything like that. So I'm just going to quickly run this round. You can see the sparks, they're the bits that are coming off that are the actual sharp edges. That's much better. Yeah, much better. So I'm just going to quickly run it round. So if you've got one of these tools, they're brilliant. Whip round this in no time. If not, easily done with a file. But hey, you've got the tools, you might as well use them. These carbide bits are brilliant. I use them on the horses, on a Dremel, which probably some of you have seen them. One of my last videos before my operation was dealing with some seedy toe, and I used the Dremel. They really are a great bit of kit. That feels much better. It's taken the worst off, so I'm just going to whip around the outside, see if there's any more little bits. You can usually tell whether the sparks come out. And so I don't want to make the outside too smooth, because I like the sort of roughness, especially as it is a skull. I think I'll call it a day at that. That's much nicer. Yeah, feels much nicer. So, what's left to do? Just put a couple of hooks on the back so that it can be held up. Probably one there and one there, just sort of well, you know, probably won't bother measuring it as usual. So I'll just see if I can find a couple. Right, what I've got is there's some of these peculiar S-shaped or sort of figure of 8 shaped links. So I'll just cut a couple of those in half, and I'm just going to quickly tack them on the back in no particular place. As I say, I've just quickly ground a couple of clean bits on the back. I'll just tack them on there. On my last video, I can't remember, I think what it was. Anyway, I had a couple of comments about oh, I know, it's my little rocket stove. A couple of comments about, oh, you're burning your eyes there, blah blah blah, because I was tacking without a screen. I mean, no, actually, just close your eyes, mate. Simple. So that's got them on there. Get the crap off. And there you go. I can put a bit of string or a little bit of wire or something between them to hang them up. And there we go. So I think I'll just get the old rattle can out, give that a quick coat of primer. Right, here we go. I've given it quite a long shake. Let's give it a quick dust over. Then we'll turn it over. Actually, what I'll do, I'll see if I can find a hook somewhere. I've got plenty lying about somewhere. There's one. Just hook it up from the back. I've got a chain hanging across my workshop that I hang these things up on, usually to paint them. There's always a grey area on the floor where the overspray goes. Alright, that's about it. Let's see if I can just move the camera up a bit, you can see it a bit better. Here we go. So I still haven't decided what colour to paint it. So I'm just going to leave it to dry. I've got the black, but I don't think I'm going to use it. And that's all it was. Simple A4 printout. Translates into a little steel thing. Skull. Do what you like with it. So there you go. And whilst you're painting it, you can even go around and decorate your workshop. Frighten the kids when they come in. So there you go. It's a very quick one today. Thanks for watching. Happy Halloween.